Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something pretty urgent and globally significant. H5N1 avian influenza.
That's right.
Why are these major international health organizations, I'm talking about the World Health Organization, the FAO, the CDC over in the U.S., and the World Organization for Animal Health, why are they all sounding such loud, coordinated alarms like right now? So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack exactly what has them so worried, what's changed with this virus, because something clearly has, and what actions are being recommended globally.
Yeah, and this is truly a vital moment, I think, for understanding how interconnected global health really is. We're going to get into some, frankly, surprising shifts in how this H5N1 virus is behaving.
Surprising and concerning, I imagine.
Definitely concerning. And what that means for, global vigilance, it's complex, no doubt, but we'll try to connect the dots for you, focus on what's really crucial here.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What exactly are these leading organizations telling us that's raising the alarm bells so loudly right now?
Well, the alerts are coming in from, multiple fronts, and each one adds a critical piece to what's looking like a very serious puzzle.
Okay.
So you take the World Health Organization, the WHO, they've confirmed that H5N1, when it does infect humans, still has this historically high case fatality rate. It's hovering around 50 to 54%.
Wow, 50%. That's incredibly severe.
It is. It really underscores the inherent danger of this particular virus strain. Then you've got the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO.
Right.
They've issued specific guidelines because H5N1 was detected pretty unprecedentedly in dairy cattle across multiple U.S. states.
In cows. That feels new.
It is new. It's a really significant emergence of the virus in cattle. And then maybe the most concerning piece, technically speaking, comes from the U.S. CDC.
Okay, what's that?
They've confirmed specific mutations in the virus's PB2 gene. Now, think of PB2 as like a key part of the virus's machinery that helps it copy itself inside a host.
Right, it's a replication engine.
Exactly. And mutations like E627K and D701N, they're particularly alarming because we know they significantly enhance the virus's ability to replicate efficiently inside mammalian cells.
Mammalian cells meaning closer to us.
Precisely. It's bringing it a step closer to adapting to humans.
So you've just laid out quite a few alarming data points there, the high fatality rate, these new hosts like cattle, these specific genetic mutations. When you start putting those pieces together, what's the bigger picture here? Is this just, a bad flu variant, or are we seeing something fundamentally different?
That really is the critical question. And frankly, what's so striking is that these indicators, when you connect them, well, they bear an unsettling resemblance to the kind of early signals we sometimes see before pandemics.
Really? That's sobering.
It is.
Yeah.
The key insight isn't just that H5N1 is active. We've known that for years. It's that unlike previous outbreaks that were mostly stuck in bird populations.
Right. It was avian flu.
Exactly. This situation clearly shows the virus has a sustained capacity now to jump into mammals. And from there, the worry is potentially into humans much more easily. It's not just a new chapter for H5N1. It feels like a whole new playbook.
Okay, so we've outlined the alerts and the sort of underlying scientific concerns, but the story itself, how this virus actually made that dangerous leap into mammals, especially you mentioned in the U.S., that's where things get really eye-opening, right? Can you walk us through how that unfolded?
Yeah, it really started to become clear in the spring of 2024. An outbreak emerged, confirmed in U.S. dairy cattle.
Spring 2024, okay.
And this wasn't just one farm, one small incident. It involved hundreds of cattle herds across multiple states. Then, the genetic testing on samples from these cases, that's where they found those PB2 mutations we just talked about.
The ones linked to mammal adaptation.
Exactly. The ones directly linked to the virus adapting better to mammals. And importantly, it's not just cattle. We've seen simultaneous infections pop up in various wild mammals and birds, too.
Like what kind of animals?
Well, specific examples include coyotes, raccoons, even some marine mammals. That really raises significant concerns about cross-species transmission. It shows the virus is quite capable of jumping between different types of animal populations now.
So we're not talking about just a few isolated cases anymore. This sounds like it signals a fundamental shift, maybe even a frightening evolutionary jump for the virus itself, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That is precisely the crucial point here. H5N1 is no longer, neatly confined confined just to birds.
Right.
We are now seeing it actively infecting mammals and across multiple different species. That indicates a kind of robust adaptability that, frankly, we haven't really seen before with this specific strain on this scale.
It's a new era for the virus then.
It truly marks a new era.
Yeah.
And as a direct result, global surveillance guidelines, how we track this, they've been updated. There's now a priority on testing cattle and wild mammals, recognizing this new reality. You know, for those of us working in this field, seeing these signals line up, the way these big organizations are coordinating their warnings, it feels a bit like seeing ripples on the water before a, well, potentially significant wave hits. We really can't afford to ignore these signals this time.
So let's bring this home for the listener. Why does this matter directly to you listening right now? What's the real-world implication of a virus that's, as you said, changing its playbook like this?
Well, it matters profoundly because any virus that shows an enhanced ability to replicate in mammals, especially one like this that's now circulating in livestock, potentially within our food system, that drastically elevates the risk.
How so?
Because each new mammal infection is essentially another opportunity, another roll of the dice for the virus to adapt further, perhaps adapt specifically towards human hosts. It increases the chances for human exposure, obviously, but crucially, it increases the chances for it to learn how to spread more easily among us. It shifts from being primarily a bird problem over there to potentially everyone's problem right here.
So the sheer volume of these new mammal infections, it just dramatically increases that statistical chance, that probability of a truly human-adapted strain eventually emerging.
Precisely. More hosts mean more opportunities for the virus to replicate, to mutate, essentially more pathways for its evolution towards something more dangerous for us.
Okay, that's clear. So given these really critical developments, what are the recommended global responses? Who needs to do what, practically speaking, to try and contain this potential threat?
That's a really important question, and fortunately, the leading organizations have spelled out some quite detailed recommendations targeted at specific groups.
Right.
So for dairy farm workers, for example, people on the front lines with potentially infected animals, it's about personal protection, where WHO recommended N95 respirators, face shields. That's crucial.
Makes sense.
And also, there's an updated pasteurization protocol from the FAO. They're recommending heating dairy products to 72 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. That's seen as key to mitigate risk from potentially contaminated milk.
72 degrees for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. What about vets or people dealing with wildlife?
Yeah, good question. For veterinarians and wild animal guardians or rehabbers, the World Organization for Animal Health, often called WOAH, they've actually developed something called a One Health sampling kit.
One Health sampling kit.
Yeah, it's designed to help with systematic testing across different species. So collecting milk, feces, nasal swabs, things like that, to screen for H5N1, and they should follow the CDC's sampling guidelines when doing that.
So more testing, more surveillance.
Exactly. And then finally, there's a call for policymakers.
Right, the government level.
Yes. They're being urged to adopt what are called zoonosis priority frameworks. These are basically pre-planned strategies for how to deal with diseases that jump from animals to humans, like H5N1. Frameworks supported by groups like the Africa CDC and FAO.
Okay.
And a big part of that is also ensuring there are adequate stockpiles of PPE, personal protective equipment, for vets and other frontline health workers who might have to respond.
So it's a multi-layered approach. Protective gear, food safety, surveillance, policy planning.
Precisely. These recommendations all align with those broader FAO and WHO mandates for really proactive mammal surveillance and having comprehensive outbreak control plans ready to go. It's a layered defense strategy.
So we have covered a lot of ground today. We've looked at the coordinated global alerts, why these alarms are ringing so loud. We've discussed the really significant viral leap H5N1 has made into mammals. And we've outlined these concrete actions being recommended globally. It's certainly dense information, but clearly vital for understanding the global health picture right now.
Yeah, and stepping back, if we try to connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the overarching message here is pretty clear, I think. When organizations like WHO, FAO, and CDC issue a united alert like this, it really is a global call to act.
Serious signal.
A very serious signal. It just underscores how vital it is for everyone to stay informed and prepared, and it really highlights that this One Health approach.
The interconnectedness of human, animal, environmental health.
Exactly that. Recognizing that interconnectedness is truly our most effective line of defense against challenges like H5N1. It's not just an animal issue or a human issue, it's all linked.
This deep dive has certainly highlighted that intricate dance between animal health, human health, and our shared environment. It leaves me thinking, and maybe you listening too, what important questions does this raise for you about how we can best prepare for future zoonotic challenges? Not just for us humans, but really for the entire planet. Something to consider.